not sure how we're supposed to do this.
It's been so long since we've done this.
They
say it's like riding a bike, you know?
Well, I fell off the bike every time I tried riding it. So yeah, even to this day.
You seen a doctor about that?
Yes. And the word that they use that I have, I can't use on the air.
Interesting.
So I think what we should do is pick a season theme song, play it at this point, and then come back like nothing ever happened.
That sounds good.
Does that work?
Yeah, we're good with that.
Cool. What season do we want to use?
3.
I don't have that file anymore.
How many seasons did we have?
That we completed?
Yeah.
5.
All right, 4.
But we did have a season 6 that abruptly ended because of a pregnancy.
What? Were you pregnant?
Cue the music. Okay, so we haven't done this in a while.
Obviously.
And am I supposed to do the intro now? Like, is that the thing? Or are we skipping that?
I think I was always the one who did the intros, if I remember correctly.
I remember correctly that you were always complaining that you never had the
intros.
No. I think
anything else.
Oh, I know I did everything else and the intro. The only thing that you did was the notes.
I'm not doing that today, as we can see.
Ironically. Yeah. But do we want to do the old school intro, or do we want to start talking?
Do the old school intro.
Is that what we want to do?
Just for kicks.
Just for kicks? Is
that
what the cool kids say?
Kicks and giggles.
Taking the kids for giggles?
No, let's not do that. That was obnoxiously loud. Wow. Let's do the intro.
All right, let's do it. Welcome to You're My Best Friend, a podcast about
life, friendship.
This is not.
That's Ruben J. I'm Foxy.
This is not how that's supposed to go.
Well, it's how it goes now.
All right.
Because I win.
No. It's a podcast about life, friendship, and tacos. And only one of those things survived.
Tacos?
Yeah.
My
name is Ruben J.
I'm Moxie Ann.
And we're back on the saddle again.
On the saddle? We're back in the saddle again, folks. And here's the tea. It's been a while.
It's green tea.
Is that what that is?
Yes.
Are you gonna drink that one obnoxiously loud too?
I can.
Oh my gosh. Stop blowing bubbles on my couch.
You could do worse things on your couch.
Please don't. For the love of God.
So go ahead. You were saying something.
So here's the tea. We've been gone a while. I'm not gay.
It's not gay if you do it. It's gay if I do it.
We're going to talk about that today, as well as just a quick catch up on where we've been, what's been going on between the two of us, with both of us individually, and talk about what's coming up next.
Yes. Yeah.
Dig?
I dig.
Okay.
This is so awkward.
I know. It's really weird.
Like, you would think that for as long as we did this, that we wouldn't be this awkward coming back together. But
I definitely thought it was going to be this awkward.
Did you really? I thought it was going to be like old times. So here's, I think we should start by talking about what happened. Because we were in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
And then we weren't.
Yeah.
And now here we are. So is this season 7?
I don't think we're in season.
So are we just out of season?
I think so. I don't know. Well, I mean, that's kind of connected to what we're going to do next. So,
yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
Okay. So here's the deal.
Maybe this is season 6. I don't.
The remainder of season 6. So it was about a year ago at the time of recording this that we announced that we weren't going to continue doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And that was after about 5 months of us not talking to each other consistently.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was that long.
It was about 4.
Yeah. There was like 2 months solid where we just were not speaking. And then we got together once or twice. And it was kind of like, okay, we're okay, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, it was in this room where I think we finally had a breakthrough. So we should,
You're right. Yeah. On my old couch.
before
Rest in peace.
the shitstorm.
Hey, we don't curse on this show.
Oh, okay, whatever. So
It
let's
was
just,
literally though.
yeah, it was. So let's go back to 2021.
Must we?
Not literally, but we should go back to 2021. And you had just gotten married to the love of my life. And you guys came back from honeymoon and we jumped back into the podcast a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
And I think we got like 4 or 5 episodes in, and all hell broke loose.
Yep.
So should we start with what we were feeling going into that last couple of recording sessions?
I don't remember very much, honestly.
Well, it's because you keep falling and hitting your head.
You know what? That's beside the point.
Well,
I didn't hit my head. I hit my leg.
oh yeah, well, she's
So-
fallen twice down the stairs in the last 4 years. You used to get so mad when we did that. But well, I think it's safe to say that going out of season 5 and going into the wedding season, we were both kind of burnt out.
Really burnt out. Because honestly, and honestly, here's what happened. We started making most of you don't know this. We started making money
Yes.
during COVID because
We got rich.
several $100s to blow, and we blew it all.
Much more than that.
on way too crappy mic stands.
Shut up.
But we started making money because during the pandemic, people were looking for things to listen to, and apparently, like, a lot of people found us, and
It was short-lived.
yeah, it was honestly like 3 months, I want to say.
It was all through the summer of the pandemic.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was great because we actually recouped a lot of what we put into making the show. And I don't think we were super public about this at the time because we were just trying to be cool and ride the wave. But like once we got cut off from that, what was a distributor?
Yeah, we won't say the name
Yeah. But
because they're still one of the top.
that
brands.
distributor, they we received an ineligibility notice somewhere around election season, and I
Yeah.
believe it was because we did a series of episodes about the election and about staying informed on how to vote. It wasn't even biased or anything like that, but that
Yeah.
knocked us out of eligibility for that, so we stopped making money. And ever since, like, as soon as that happened, we were just focused on, oh my gosh, we could actually be successful. We could keep making money. We should start doing this right. We should start doing everything we can because we made money and we need to figure out how to do it again.
What I don't think people understood about the podcast was that originally it was just a joke.
Yeah. No, it started completely 100% as a joke.
There was a reason why it launched on April 1st.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why this is relaunching on April 1st unofficially.
Yeah.
So we lost monetization in probably August of 2020. And that's when we really started focusing on trying to do dollar in the jar and
Yeah.
different Patreon attempts. And we got some people to support us.
Yes.
Shout out to Richard Sanchez
And Wendy DePinto.
and Wendy. Oh, Aunt Wendy. And a couple other people supported us through that process. But that's when we decided, well, you got engaged.
Yeah.
We collectively voted on that she was allowed to get engaged. And then we started adding TikTok and YouTube and, just trying any way that we could. It went from being a joke to trying to be a legitimate business. And nothing really seemed to hit the way that we expected it to. And so by the time
The way that it did during the pandemic.
the way that it did during the pandemic. So by the time, May of 2021 rolled around, we had been overworking ourselves on the podcast.
Year and a half.
Yeah. And we were probably burnt out at that point, which is why we took such a long break between season 4 or season 5 and season 6.
Individually burnt out, like together on this project we were burnt out, but you were also very burnt out as well during that time.
Yeah. I mean, so what was happening at that time? I don't know if I'm legally allowed to talk about that. I have a non-disclosure agreement with that.
Are you joking?
No, I'm actually
Oh.
100% serious about that. I don't know if I'm legally allowed to talk about that. Stuff that was happening at work at the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never mind.
Screw
Don't
it.
talk about that.
Screw it.
No, don't talk about that.
Well, so
No.
here's the thing. No, I'll say it this way without naming names. I was working for a company that at the time just decided to micromanage the hell out of me, and to the point where I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
My relationship with my girlfriend wasn't on the right track at the time. There was a rift between you and I just based off of my stress. Also, while you were planning your wedding, I also didn't think you enjoyed the fact that I joked about ditching your wedding every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It was funny.
Was it?
It was. And so I was burnt out on that end. You were burnt out planning the wedding, and then on top of that, we were doing an extra like 20 hours worth of work on a podcast
that was not making money.
That was not making any money, and although it was growing in numbers, we saw increase in downloads, we saw increase in followers. I mean, we're almost at 1,000 followers on our Facebook page. I believe we're at like 700 followers or 500 followers or something on Instagram. Can you check that for us? Followers on Instagram.
Our production assistant is over in the kitchen.
Yes. And so by the time we went on hiatus for the wedding, we were just done. Yeah. I think realistically we should have taken a step and realized, hey, you know what? Maybe we just take the whole summer off. Yeah. Where are we at? 382, so almost 400 followers. So I was way off. Did we drop followers?
We must have, yeah.
Because I thought we were closer to 6.
I was doing well when I was managing that account.
Yeah. But realistically, it's been sitting dormant since August of 21.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to add anything to what I?
Well, it's also I started a new season of life, and wow.
Jerry's always listening.
It's take much to feel respected, but being interrupted by Siri.
Anyway.
I was starting a new season of life. I got married, went on a honeymoon, and then we just tried to settle down and figure out what it meant to be married. And we had no time at the time. We still have no time, but like building in like 4 hours a week of doing podcast work while I was doing another 2 full-time jobs was a lot.
Yeah.
And we were doing like multiple Bible studies a week. I had choir rehearsals every week. We were going to, we were doing so much and we had no time. And so when Ruben would come up with a new idea, which your ideas are fantastic, just for the record, but you would come up regularly with new ideas of things for us to do that were very time consuming and required a lot of my input and my work on it. And I was just not in a place where I could handle that.
Yeah.
And so I became increasingly frustrated when either a new idea was brought up that required me to maintain it on a weekly basis, or you weren't satisfied with the quality of my work because I was too busy.
Was I ever unsatisfied with the quality of your work?
All the time.
Really? I don't remember this. I don't remember this. Name one specific moment.
Posting on social media every single day.
Oh, because we had an agreement.
Yeah, well, agreements are made to be broken.
Not what my lawyer said.
Well, you need a new lawyer.
I have a great lawyer. Yes.
So all of that was happening.
Yeah.
You want to continue?
Yeah, I mean, and then some personal stuff happened that for the sake of the people involved, we don't have to go into detail about.
Yeah.
But there was a big rift in our friendship.
Yeah.
And it ended
into a fight.
Well, I got into a fight with somebody else that you guys are close with.
Yeah.
And at that point, and I've fully taken responsibility for this privately, just was not in a good headspace at the time. And you and Brad decided that you guys were going to take basically a hands-off approach. Like you guys were just going to take some time for you guys to figure out your life.
Yeah.
And I took that completely different than the way that you guys presented it. And essentially kind of said, no, you can't leave me. I'm going to leave you.
I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
I'm taking my recording devices and I'm going home.
That's what happened. It was
That's
very awkward.
literally what happened.
Showed up to my house and came upstairs and took everything. And
Pretty sure I took stuff that belonged to you too.
yeah. Before you, I don't know.
4 of your books.
Did you?
No.
Oh, I don't know if I ever told you this, but before you got there, I was like, he's coming to take his stuff. What do I not want him to take? And I like hid stuff in the closet.
Of my stuff?
No, my stuff, but stuff that was like the mic stands and stuff. I was like, oh, he's gonna take all the mic stands. I need like one. And I put my webcam in the closet, and I put like some cables in the
Which
closet.
is funny because all I wanted was my board and my mics. That's all I cared about. Yeah.
Be like,
listen, I don't think I've ever been the person that's going to take stuff that wasn't mine. Like I left something that is, I guess, technically mine, but I wasn't sure who had custody of it, which is one of the other boards. I left my other personal board at that. So like,
Yeah.
I just, what I wanted.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
that's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair, especially since I kind of told you as I'm pulling up, like, hey, I'm here to pick up my stuff.
Yeah.
And then we just stopped talking.
Yeah. There were letters exchanged.
Yeah, for a minute there. Well, that was months later.
No, that was like a month later. Or
I think it was at least 2 months later.
It was that same weekend.
No.
I think it was that same weekend, and then I sent you back a letter like a month later.
Basically, we turned into Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr.
Sir.
Thank you. And because we, there was really no good way to communicate at that point in time.
Yeah.
And it was a while later. It wasn't right away.
Well, and also when I said I want to take a break, I was kind of like, we can continue to do the podcast, but you didn't feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, well, because we spent so much time about being authentic and,
staying true to our brand values.
Exactly. And there was no way for me to do a podcast talking about life, friendship, and tacos when at the time my life was in upheaval and our friendship wasn't. I don't think there was a way for us to present a front of us being friends.
It wouldn't have been genuine.
Yeah. And trust me, in my heart of hearts, I wouldn't have wanted to stop that because it was the one thing that kind of kept us connected.
Yeah.
And during all the personal issue that blew up in August of that year had been brewing for a while, and so the one thing that kind of just kept us in the same room and in the same conversation all the time was the podcast.
Yeah.
And when it came time to, move away from that, there was no way for us, I thought at that time, to move forward.
Well, and you always said beforehand when we were doing the podcast, before it kind of spiraled out of control, you always said if it's the podcast or the friendship, I'll always choose the friendship. Yeah. And it was really sad at that time. I think when we got together one of those times to talk, you said like, I said if it was between the podcast or the friendship, I would choose the friendship, and somehow I lost both. And
you said that, or I said that?
I think you said that. Yeah.
Which,
spoiler alert, didn't happen.
Well, okay, but there was a while there.
Time,
yeah. And even after those letters were exchanged and we agreed to meet up at a Panera for lunch, which I feel so bad about the employees at that Panera because that was such an awkward.
I know, that was so weird.
An awkward like reunion, but it wasn't until months later that things were finally good again.
Yeah. Not until recently, honestly.
It was like a year or longer.
Maybe 6 months.
Yeah, no, longer than that.
No, about 6 months, I think.
Hey, Lauren, can you look up when Hey Siri, can you look up when Andrew Schultz's comedy special dropped?
No, that was June. I remember that was June.
Okay, so 9 months.
Yeah.
So we started trying to repair the friendship in I think November.
Yeah.
And we started working on it in November. I think we had an awkward Christmas birthday deal that year.
Yeah, that was weird.
Um, and it was funny because I remember I'm like, I have to get them presents and I have to drop it off in their house at their house, um, just so that they know that I'm still like wanting to work on this, even though you guys were doing your own Christmas thing. When was it? Oh, you're looking at me like you had the answer. Yes. Um,
No,
and
I remember it was June because that was when Brad went to Jack Black, and that was in June at the end.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so July, that makes sense.
Cool.
So the one thing that Moxie and I have always loved to encounter together is comedy.
Yeah.
Like we, for some reason, both discovered that we both equally love comedy, stand-up comedy. And I'm like, hey, Andrew Schultz has a new comedy special out. We should watch it. And it was supposed to be what we called girls' night, and we ended up not watching the special and just kind of finally had a heart to heart.
Yeah.
I think I was finally like, hey, you know what? Like, this is awkward. Can we just throw it out on the table? And that's when things started working out. Brad and I finally reconciled and put all of our feelings out on the table. And really, it's been almost a year now that things have been solid again.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really proud of us and I'm proud of you. And I'm also proud because I feel like during that time, and I don't mean for this to be patronizing, but like your personal development and your spiritual and emotional development has grown so much. Like
Was I undeveloped?
No, but I would say you're almost a completely different person from who you were pre-pandemic and especially like 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Am I supposed to say something nice about you now?
No.
Okay.
There's nothing.
No, I mean, so not to get spiritual on anybody, but
Ooh,
what?
you can't talk about faith in this house. In my home with 15 Bibles.
I think, it's pretty common for the Bible to talk about, having to be pruned of stuff to become a better. Why are you laughing?
Just not stuff.
Well,
to prune the branches.
Listen, I'm not trying to be accurate here. I'm just trying to be. But the whole idea of pruning is you kill, you take the dead branches off, and then out of that fruit grows. And I think that in that moment, my friendship with you and all the stuff that we had worked on had to be pruned for me to actually go through this development and become the person I am today.
Yeah.
Which, it sucks that is how things went down, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Knowing the outcome in the moment, and Lauren can attest to this, in the moments it was painful for me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for yourself as well, just because I think anytime anyone's even slightly upset with you, it hurts you to the core.
Yeah.
And so knowing that I was angry at you, I'm sure, and you can confirm or deny this, was probably just as painful.
Oh, it was horrible. I mean, it helped.
That was so sarcastic.
No.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was really horrible. It helped to know that I wasn't the one at fault, but there was a lot.
Who was at fault?
You.
I was not at fault. Are we gonna have a whole new fight?
No, but like I had a lot of anguish over the decisions that I made during that time and like the way I presented things and whether I had done things right or wrong or not. And ultimately, Brad kind of helped me process what happened, and I kind of landed on like we needed to protect our marriage at that point.
Yeah.
And prioritize that. And when you get married, it's completely different. It looks completely different. It's just that's how it is. And so for me, it was like recalibrating my priorities and like figuring out the value, like the importance level of marriage versus friendships and other priorities. I mean, I've dropped a lot of things since then as well, just to prioritize my marriage.
Yeah.
But not that I dropped you, but like, we enforcing boundaries.
You just dropped yourself.
Twice.
Yeah. Oh, didn't you fall down these stairs once too?
Not badly.
Oh, okay. Not Bradley.
I fell I felt, this is an aside. This is on the what's been going on with us catch up that we're gonna get to in a minute here.
Yeah.
I fell down 4 stairs
Steps.
outside of our complex in by the dumpster, and
It's a dumpster fire of a fall.
I injured my leg, and that was in November, and it's
Yes.
still swollen.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. Well, and then, you know,
Yes, that is funny.
it's very funny. But I've always made it clear too that like when it came down to anything versus your marriage,
Yeah.
that I'd rather you pick your marriage
Yeah.
over whatever it is, even if it was something that was important to me. Because at the end of the day, you know,
And it's
you're
important to me.
thank you.
You're
You know, at the end of the day, you know, Brad's your husband and you guys have a life together, and
Yes,
there's
that's accurate.
yeah, thanks. I'm glad. Although I heard there's rumors around whether that certificate was signed or not.
Oh my gosh. It's signed.
You know, so I never wanted to ever get in the way of your guys' marriage. And so I think that 6 months or so, 7 months, whatever it was,
Yeah.
that we were kind of the first 2 months where we were like completely radio silence for a long time.
Yeah.
And then the subsequent 5 months where we were kind of awkwardly trying to figure out what's next. I think it was good for everyone involved,
Yeah.
even if it sucked.
Yeah.
You know,
I learned recently, and this is something that
I also learned recently.
someone pointed out to me recently, there's a difference between hurt and damage. And she used like a dental work analogy. So, and she was like, I have a lot of dental trauma, but like when I'm eating sugar and it forms cavities in my mouth, that's damage. I don't feel it at the time, but that's something that's going to affect me long term. And it's not ever going to be a positive thing. When the dentist takes a look at my teeth and he says, oh, you need a root canal, that is going to hurt, but it's going to undo the damage. And ultimately, you will actually be removed from that pain like long term. And I feel like damage is something that's not
We lost the light.
I don't know what just happened there. Damage is something that's not positive. And
can you come fix this light?
damage is something that's never going to have a positive outcome. Or it does, but you know, you have to learn how to get out of it.
Yeah.
But hurt is something where hurt is a symptom of growth. And I think in our case, there was damage and there was hurt.
So damage.
Yeah.
So we were damaged but not hurt?
I think there was some damage.
Or we were hurt and then I zoned out as soon as the light turned off.
Damage and hurt can both be repaired, but hurt is a process that you go through on your way to growth. Whereas damage is just something that you carry with you.
Is that one of those, if it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger type situations?
Yes, this is a Clarkson situation.
Ah, the great Dr. Clarkson.
So anyway, we're back.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah. So, you know, a few months ago, we were talking about, you were at a store, I think, and you saw this game.
Yeah.
And you were like, we still had a podcast, ha ha ha. And then and then like a couple weeks later, I saw the same game and sent it to you.
Podcast.
It's exactly what we said. And then we just started throwing out like hypothetical, hey, you know, our 4-year anniversary is coming up. Do we want to, or 4-year, 5-year, 4-year? Do we want to try to do something? You know, and that developed into us realizing, you know, it was really awkward the way that we ended things. And so we thought, at least I thought, I don't know if you want to put your branding on this as well, but I thought it'd be good to give the audience a couple final episodes and leave it open-ended still, because who knows what happens next.
Here's the thing, like, okay. So, and you were also very public about this on your main page, that you had like kind of given up a little bit trying to pursue the dream of broadcasting full time, right? Yes. I think that was during.
I don't remember.
Am I imagining this?
I think that might have been a personal conversation that we had, but it's okay to go public.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Anyway,
Because here's at the end of the day, it's true. You know.
Well, and okay, here's the thing. Where I was coming from around the time when we were focusing a lot on the podcast was it was the middle of COVID. I was doing zero work as a freelance musician because there was no work. And I was very, very insecure about it. And one of the reasons that I enjoyed doing this podcast and wanted to continue doing it and publicizing it was because it was something that was in my field of entertainment and kept me working.
Yeah.
And when work started to appear again, that wasn't as much of a priority because, you know, my livelihood and the entirety of what gives me my name isn't doing a podcast. Because I mean, literally, at the time, I wasn't in any bands. I wasn't doing any work for about 2 years. And so that also falls into the category of why this podcast was so serious to us and why it caused us so much stress. Because I had nothing going on. And you were pushing and pushing and pushing as well, trying to just make a livelihood in broadcasting and trying to, like, you got your full-time job at K-Wave,
the station that shall be remain nameless.
Never mind. But you got a full-time broadcasting job and you were working a couple other things as well, and you were doing other podcasts, and it was like, this is the thing. And now I think in 2023 we have reached a higher plane of enlightenment in that we don't want to do stuff unless it's fun, and we don't want to care about it
Fun,
unless it's
fun or makes a crap ton of money.
Yeah, and we've learned that this does not do
exactly. Yeah, I mean, so around the time that we started reconciling our friendship, I had come to the realization that if I never broadcasted on a real radio station ever again, I'd be perfectly happy. And even if
I think you did post that.
I'm not sure.
I think you made a Facebook post.
I don't think so.
Sure you did.
Well, we can go back and find out. I don't know. If I did, I did. If I didn't, I didn't. Well, good luck with
Keep
that.
Talking.
I don't remember ever going public with that though. Just because I'm still really well connected with a lot of people, but I don't mind going public with it. Because I've come to terms with the idea of if this if I got a calling to donate all my equipment to a church for them to have a podcast studio and I never produced another podcast again in my life, I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Oh, I think that was something personal.
Yeah. And I know I've mentioned it on a couple podcasts since then, but nothing on a mass scale where people would know that.
Yeah.
Because I still love doing this. I still love doing what I'm doing with the Ruben J Show, which you guys can find on Spotify and Apple and all that stuff. It's great stuff there. But if I never make a dime or if I get prompted one of these days to sell all this equipment or donate it or whatever, I'd be perfectly happy with it, because I've found other things in my life that bring me the happiness that broadcast once did. And I also make money now. Like when we first
imagine that.
Here's the thing. When we first started doing this, I made that first year, 2019, I made $19,000 in the entire year. I'm making significantly more than that now.
That's good.
Yes. So I actually I have health insurance.
Oh my gosh.
And a 401k.
What?
With an employee match.
My God, what is that?
Or employer match. Or the employer match. Yeah. By gunpoint. So well, that's not important.
Oh my gosh, he does have a pretty cool girlfriend who is our part-time slave right now, apparently. I'm so sorry, Lauren.
So with that being said, what are we going to do moving forward?
So speaking of that game that you brought up,
yes,
we are not going back into season. We're not going into season 6 or 7
or 12.
We are going to be doing a limited series based around that game and other games, and just hanging out, enjoying friendship, and giving you something entertaining to listen to.
Or just something to listen to.
something that exists and you look at it and go, I'll never listen to that.
I'll subscribe because they're my friends.
I'm gonna support them, but at gunpoint.
Yeah, so the idea right now is I don't know if this podcast will ever fully go away.
Yeah.
Um,
That's valid.
But I don't think we're ever going to put as much time and effort into it like we did in 2019 and 2020. Yeah.
Unless we start making buckets of money, in which case I'm all in.
Yeah, if somebody just wants to like donate like $20,000,
okay, we can accept that.
We can split 70-30.
70-30?
No, 70-30. No, 70. People who are just strictly listening to this are like, why are they repeating the same thing over and over again? You have to watch the video to see why this is funny. We're apparently deciding to do visual community, visual comedy. Yes, visual community. Which is also true. Visual comedy on an audio podcast.
Also recording video.
Yes, I don't know if that will ever get edited though. Anyway,
sweet. I'm so glad I put makeup on.
So this podcast might go away for months at a time and then pop into your feed again. We might get inspired to do another limited series down the road. It's all going
to be dependent on what we're feeling, how much time we have, what we have the brain power to do, and if you're listening, honestly.
Yeah. If we drop this and like 2 people listen to it, we probably want to do more than 2 episodes. If
it is pretty fun though.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just record all of our conversations from here on out.
I feel like we should do that instead of this because our conversations are usually much funnier than this.
We should just get like those Bluetooth microphones that attach to our phone, and the minute we see each other, just push record.
Eagle is leaving. Eagle is leaving.
Have you seen? Never mind. Not gonna go into that. There's a video of Joe Biden with somebody doing the Secret Service voiceovers, and the eagle has gotten lost. We're gonna need a small child. So there's that. The plan right now is to do a couple of games and then tell some stories from the podcast and probably do about 4 or 5 of those and see what happens.
Good. We are circling back to the original intention of the podcast, which was to do life together and be friends and eat tacos.
That's what I forgot.
Oh.
I ordered us tacos.
Did you? Where?
From the taco place right up the street. No.
Oh my gosh. I was going to be so upset.
Those tacos are expensive.
I know.
We went there the other day and it was like $60 for like 3 tacos. Anyway, that's that. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
If you're listening and if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening.
Why would you listen to 39 minutes of us just ranting and raving?
Because they're curious. I don't know. If you're still listening, thank you so much for listening. And thank you for probably tuning into our other episodes. Thank you for being a follower of us, because how else would you have found this episode? Because we're probably not promoting the heck out of it like we used to.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna need you to put 12 social media posts together ASAP.
No.
Boundaries. So to recap, actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna put this part in the front.
Okay.
As like a TD, a TLDR.
Okay. TD American.
Oh gosh. Number 1, we're back for a limited time. Number 2, we're gonna do this as long as it's fun or until it makes money, and then we'll do it longer. And if it ever becomes not fun again, we're gonna stop doing it. And number 4, I was a jerk and cost us everything.
That's not entirely accurate, but partially. There were factors.
Well, let's not rehash it.
Factors. I have been living life recently under the mantra that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. So, just because we're not doing it well, actually that means we'll be having more fun, I think.
I think we have more fun when we're just goofing around.
I think we do too.
Yeah. I think when we got too serious, especially the last season when we tried getting really serious. So anyway, with that being said, make sure to send this to your friends if you want. Would be helpful.
We're sure as hell not gonna do it.
Yeah, we don't really care. dollarinthejar.com is still kind of a thing if you want to, spend $3 and support what we're doing here or not.
Follow us on our social media. We'll post stuff sometimes.
Yeah, that's important. What is our social media?
At best friend.
Is my light dying? Do I need a new ring light?
It's a very introspective question.
I know.
My light.
If you don't mind. I think we just found the name of this episode. What is our social media again?
I think our social was at Best Friend Podcast for Instagram.
Yes.
I have no idea what it is on TikTok and Facebook.
We had a TikTok?
Yeah, we did. Just ignore it. Just
You know
ignore
what?
the light that's dying.
It's so funny. I have this on like all day at home and it doesn't do this.
It's weird.
Maybe I just need a new light.
Yeah, you might.
It is like 4 years old.
Facebook.com
We had a TikTok?
/ The Best Friend Show.
Yeah, that is correct.
My goodness. Muscle memory.
It is the best muscle in the body.
We did have a TikTok. Yeah. Remember we posted like one crumble review video and it blew up.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
Like
and then
12
we were
people
like,
watched
we
it?
need to do more crumble videos, and that's why I'm fat now.
Don't blame Crumble on your poor decision making.
I am entirely blaming Crumble on my poor decision.
Anyway, my name is Ruben J.
And I'm Moxie Ann.
And we've gone way over what we originally talked about
It's okay. It's energy.
for our usual arrangement.
I think. We hope that you like this limited season that's going to be coming
Speak
up.
for yourself.
Ruben does not care. I care. I care about you, but not enough to
Not enough to what? Finish that sentence, Moxie Ann. Finish that sentence.
work it.
Oh my God, that's funny. You're like, listen, kids, I love you, but not enough to give you vegetables. So enjoy your frozen chicken nuggets.
But we hope that you are well. We hope that you are safe and healthy and that you're listening to this on a great day. And
Which happens to be a Saturday.
we hope that you just continue.
I hope you dance.
We hope that you just enjoy. If you choose to listen to any of the limited series, if you chose to listen to this, we hope that you enjoy us just doing life together and being friends again, because we're enjoying it.
That brings back bad flashbacks.
To what?
Life together.
Oh gosh. I got a flashback from #selfie quarantine the other day.
Oh, I saw that. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and stop recording now because I gotta pee.
There she goes.